Hello. In this lesson, we're going to be simplifying expressions. In the first one, we have a simple fraction here, and we're being asked to simplify it. We also need to know what values of x are going to make this expression undefined. So the best thing we can do to start with is to factor as much as we can. So our denominator, x squared minus 3x minus 10, needs to be able to factor. The top can't factor. There's no exponents on there other than 1, so that's going to stay as is. But the bottom can factor into x minus 5 times the quantity x plus 2. So what values of x make this undefined? Well, we know that x can't equal 5 and negative 2. Those are the two values that would make the denominator 0. Those make the denominator 0. Now, to continue to simplify this piece, notice on top and bottom, they both have that x minus 5. It's the exact same value. Whatever you did to your x, you're going to subtract 5 from it. So it becomes the exact same number. So that we can cross out. Whenever we divide something by itself, we're left with the number 1. So when we write our simplified version, we have a 1 on top, and on bottom it's 1 times x plus 2, which is just x plus 2. And there's the simplified version in number 1. Now notice number 2 is a bit more complicated. We have two fractions that are multiplying by each other, but the rules for multiplication will make this look very similar to number 1. The rules for multiplying fractions imply that we are allowed to do any sort of canceling before we multiply, and we should. Anything on top can multiply with any, or can cancel with anything on bottom. So let's go ahead and do this here, and I'll talk about what that looks like. So our numerator, the first numerator, the x squared plus 3x minus 28, will factor into x plus 7 times x minus 4. The denominator will factor into x minus 7 times x minus 6 times the next part. The second fraction's numerator here will be x. That looks like it's going to be a plus 9, and then x minus 3, excuse me, x minus 6. And then the denominator will be x plus 9 and x minus 4. Now, we know based on what we just did above that in a fraction by itself, anything can cancel on top and bottom. So for instance, these two both have an x plus 9. It's the exact same number. They would cancel. But we also learned over the course of multiplying in our lives with fractions that we can also cross-cancel. Because we have both multiplication and division here, and they are kind of undoing each other. They're opposites of each other. So, for instance, the x minus 4 here and the x minus 4 here is a multiplication and a division. The x minus 4 is multiplying, the other x minus 4 is dividing, they would cancel. Same idea with the x minus 6's here and here. They slash out because one's on top and multiplying, the other one's in the denominator, which means it's dividing. So the only thing we're left with for our final answer is on top we have x plus 7, on bottom we have x minus 7. All the other slashes became 1s, and when we multiply by 1, everything else stays the same. So this is the simplified version of that original piece. Okay, so that was simplifying across multiplication. For now, we're done.